Hello and welcome to Aha Moments. This is entitled Sleep Well and is based on an Aha Moment Monday that was released on July 10th. You can subscribe to jrain.com and you could get Aha Moments every Monday morning at 8 a.m. Eastern. But we're going to go through and unpack a few articles of this one. I'm going to read it to you, and then we'll chat a little bit about what nighttime routine was all about. And I'm sure you may get something different than I would. And that's the whole point of Aha Moments. I mean, you've had Aha Moments, right? Sometimes it's just little things, that little intuition, something, a message, is something that you see, something that you hear that affects you and helps you kind of go in a little bit different direction or create a more deeper awareness of something. Sometimes the Aha Moments are more profound. And sometimes when your back's against a wall or you end up in a huge situation that is maybe a dilemma, or maybe it appears to be something negative that has happened to you, that you realize after the fact that that really was the greatest gift that you ever had. And then, they say, I think it was Steve Jobs that said, you can only connect the dots backwards. So you look back and you go, wow, that was so pivotal. So that's what Aha Moments are, those little flashes that happen that shift your perspective. And that's what Aha Moment Mondays are about, taking a look at everyday situations and then looking at them just a little differently. So let's look at this one called Nighttime Routine. Okay, I'm going to call it up here. We'll read it together and then we'll have a little bit of a chat, and I welcome all of your comments on it at any time. Here we go. What does your nighttime routine look like? Are you a night hawk who likes to catch up on your TV watching or can't go to bed without clearing out your inbox? Do you wind down early, replacing electronics with lots of cuddles? Years ago, I changed up my routine to substantially reduce unnatural light in the evening and replace that second wind of projects with calming activities, good reads, or great conversations with friends. I loved listening to Brian Proctor, Bob Proctor's son, who tells stories about his upbringing, specifically of the nighttime routine with his dad. Brian shares that his dad would come into his room at night, put his hand on his chest, and share all the amazing things that happened in Brian's life that day. If something didn't go well, his dad would spin it in such a way to ensure Brian that it too was for good. He'd leave Brian with the knowing that he would wake up with a smile on his face and the awareness that the world was his, and finally remind him just how much he was loved. Brene Brown says we are hardwired to connect with others. It's what gives purpose and meaning to our lives, and without it, there is suffering. How precious is that last hour before bedtime? What difference could it make how we invested it? Well, I remember how I loved tuck-in time when I was a child because of those very bonding conversations with my dad. Regardless of the fear, celebrations, and secrets that would spill out, I closed my eyes feeling safe and loved. Then, as a mom, it became my turn to embolden and inspire, to be the safe harbor of unconditional loving energy that sent my little one smiling into slumber. Do we grow out of desiring that connection? Aha, there's no greater gift than to be seen, heard, and valued. It's all too easy to take the worries of the day to bed, when in fact, it's the perfect time to remind ourselves and those around us how very meaningful life is, how meaningful they are, how meaningful we are. Give a loving boot to suffering. Oh, what do you think of that? Some of these, I have to admit, I have a tougher time writing than others. And there were so many messages in this one for me. I heard Brian tell the story on an interview the other day. He's recently released a new book on his dad had the secret, I think is what it said it was about 3 years in the making. And during the interview, Brian told that story. And I've heard the story about, tuck in time, and I realized how important it is. And I remember, as a mom too, of, those were the times that, you would just be going in to say, okay, good night, have a good sleep. And that's when all of the stuff would come out, right? And those were some of the most meaningful conversations that we had. And part of me wants to turn it back in to ourselves, because it's always about self first, right? So anything that we do, we need to be doing with ourselves, for ourselves, to ourselves, in order to be stronger, better, more aware. So I want to circle back into that in terms of what it means for yourself. And here's what I mean by that is that I find now I don't have little kids to tuck in, and there's not, necessarily anyone around in the evening time. The evenings are usually mine. But I do enjoy those conversations of connectedness with friends. And sometimes they're text messages, sometimes they're phone calls. I love the phone call. And at that time, when it's sort of wind down time, to go to bed with a smile on your face, feeling grateful and feeling connected and feeling like life has meaning, that you have meaning, we have meaning, that it all has meaning. I find that that is a very important element to having a good sleep at nighttime. So I wanted to share that with you, because I think whatever it is that makes you feel connected, whatever it is that kind of calms you. As I said, I found that I reduce unnatural light in the evening times. I think Dr. Jack Kruse, who I study under, he likes just candles at night. He doesn't like anything, but I do like no overhead lights. So I mean, I have maybe one or two table lights, and as the evening goes, as I get more and more used to the darkness, I mean, everything gets eventually turned off. Will be some electronics, but if I do have electronics, and it's I do have my blue blocker glasses, but it is wind down. It's the candlelight bubble baths. It's the conversations, the reads, whatever it is that just kind of takes you down a notch and puts you in very much, for me, it puts me in the present moment and in a space of gratitude. So I find that in feeling that connectedness, if I have too many days where I'm not connecting with people, I'm just behind the computer and I'm putting things out that way, and there's a lot going out but not coming back, it does feel like there's a bit of a void there. So I think that, when Brian tells the story of his dad, being physical with, putting his hand in his chest. And I remember with my dad, both my parents had a little different way of, of doing the tuck-in or things. But I know my relationship with my dad was that he would either, hold my face or my hand or something. And he just had oh, Ginger, whatever it was, he just knew the words to say. And I knew that I was safe with him. I could say what was on my mind. I could share, whether it was a celebration of something that was really good that, I was nervous to share with other people, because they may not be as happy for me as I was for me, or proud that I was, or that it was something that really concerned me, being at school, or something happened in the neighborhood, or even a perspective of something happened in the world at that time that I needed to needed to put that out there. And my dad always had the words to say. He always and he was very present and very loving, and always, people knew my dad for the hugs that he would give. When he hugged you, you knew you were being hugged, and that level of touch. So I'm going to encourage all of us, and I always include myself, with these messages. I'm always talking to myself first. So I'm going to encourage, you and me and all of us and those around us to remember how important touch is, remember how important connection is, and to stay connected with one another, however that means. We are not islands. We are all here for a reason, and we are all here to do our part to move humanity forward. And it's all about all of us. We're all in this together. So let's remember that the powers that be are, doing everything to try and divide us. Let's remember that that we're all one, and that all man is created equal, and don't allow yourself to be divided from anyone at any time. Okay, up the hugs, up the conversation, and enjoy that nighttime routine. Go sleep well. All right, that's it. Like, share, subscribe, comment at any time, but most importantly, succeed deliberately.